So chapter 1 is a description of Indra's net. Indra's net is a metaphor in the Atharva Ved. Atharva Ved. Okay, and this metaphor in the Ved is described as, it says, the cosmos and all that exists is a net of jewels that goes in all directions infinitely, and infinitely in all directions, net of jewels. Each jewel is polished, and each jewel, think of it like a mirror, is a reflection of all the other jewels. So the idea being that no jewel is separate and isolated by itself. Each jewel is dependent on all the other jewels. Each jewel contains all the other jewels. It's sort of like saying that every ant contains the whole Brahmand. Every electron contains the whole cosmos inside it. So this idea of interconnectivity and interdefined, it includes the idea of interconnectivity, interdefined, things of that sort. Now, the reason I like this is, if you search Indra's net, you will find a lot of discussions about Indra's net as a metaphor for ecology, ecological dependence. Indra's net as a metaphor for holography, for quantum physics. Indra's net as a metaphor for social harmony, pluralism. So a lot of modern, liberal, secular, scientific movements that are very popular have adopted this Indra's net as a metaphor. But they don't get it from the Vedas. And had they known it from the Vedas, they probably would not have adopted it. So they adopted it because it's a Buddhist metaphor. Now, how did the Buddhists get it? This is the story. We Hindus should know. The most high-level philosophical Buddhism in East Asia is Huayan. It's Chinese Buddhism. It's called Huayan. And among the different kinds of Buddhism, this is considered the most advanced philosophical Buddhism. And the Avatam Sutra is their primary text. And this consists of 3 or 4 chapters from Sanskrit. I think some of them are still available, some of them are lost, and the Mandarin translation is available. This sutra, which is the philosophical foundation for Buddhism in China, it starts by describing the whole philosophy as Indra's net. It uses the term Indra's net, Indrajal, and it describes that the whole cosmos consists of things that are not separable from each other. They're all interdependent, and this is what I just described as Indra's net. It's elaborated in a lot of passages, a lot of sutras there, a lot of shlokas. And this Chinese interpreted idea of Indra's net becomes the founding principle, the core principle of Chinese Buddhism. Then it goes into Zen, and it goes into Korean Buddhism, and then Buddhism comes to America, and this Indra's net becomes a very fashionable thing among American Buddhists. And then from there, it gets into physics and all these kind of things. So here is a great example of something as ancient and Hindu as Vedic, that also shows the Vedic origins of Buddhist ideas, that also shows how these ideas have flowed into Western contemporary thought. But when you go to a conference where it is called Indra's net and chaos theory, okay, and if you say, I'm going to tell you where all this comes from, they're going to get a shock, because they probably themselves don't know where it actually comes from. So my idea is that I'm connecting the ancient with the modern and the postmodern. I'm connecting the Hindu with the Buddhist with the secular modern science. So I'm doing all this as a way of showing the beauty and unity of our thought. And then I'm saying that it is this beautiful unity which the opponents are trying to break up, and why I'm trying to defend it.
Thank you, Rajiv. In fact, it's really